Hey there, my name is Charlotte Farreau, and I'm hosting Change by Choice. Thank you so much for joining me today. The topic that we're going to tackle today is really, how to make sure that we don't fall into the trap of bitterness and resentfulness. And this is one that, no one wakes up in the morning and is like, I want to become a bitter person. I want to become super resentful, right? But it happens. You get sucked into it. It's a very powerful emotion. And much like anger, once you're in it, it consumes you, right? Now, we're going to look at this from many different perspectives. This could just be you in your life, dealing with just your day-to-day with family, with, people, with situations. But this also really impacts us in terms of our professional lives. How many of us, start to become just a little bit more bitter and resentful, with some of the things that we do in terms of our work. Now, by no means, I am a person that believes that we should do something that we're passionate about, but that's not always possible for every single person out there. And not everybody shares that same belief. And that's totally cool. You've got to decide, where passion, where you're going to fit passion in your life. And sometimes it's not, some people just don't mind that it's not their profession. They look at it more of that, like, I go in, I do my work, I leave, and then I've got other hobbies, other passions, other pieces that I have in my life that keep me ignited in that way, right? So that's cool. To each our own. I'm definitely somebody that I need to have passion with what I do. That's when I work at my best. And it definitely creates that fire from within. But again, not everybody is like that. So that's cool. But here's the thing. So we make decisions all the time that affect us. And, some of those situations are handed to us. Others are self-induced, are choices that we've made that have really led us that way. But, what I want us to focus in on is no matter what, at the end of the day, if you're the one, sitting there feeling those feelings, starting to tip into a place where you're like, this just isn't going well. In previous podcasts, I really talk about the power of choice and the power of taking responsibility, that we don't always choose all those situations, but they happen. And then you have choice to make. Are you willing to gamble and allow that choice to really change who you are? Is that something that you're willing to do? Because that's how powerful being bitter, being angry, being resentful, the power of those emotions, once they're in there, changes how you see and how you act and how you believe. Right? It's like a dark hole that you're getting sucked into. The problem is that once you're in that, unless you're extremely self-aware and you're asking yourself the right questions, it's hard to catch yourself out of it. Right? It almost takes on a whole life of its own. And that's scary, right? It means we're all, not all, but when we're in that spot, we're operating from a place that's beyond us. That when you allow it to, it takes over. And so, that's why it's really important to keep that in check. And that's what I really hope that you guys are getting from our time together here on this podcast, Change by Choice, is, just having a deeper understanding of where you are at. Really where you're at, how you tick and function, how you want to show up. It's important, Are you living into your best self? Or are you just in autopilot? And so here's a couple surefire ways to get yourself out of being bitter and out of that out of control feeling of being resentful or, being angry. Which is, you got to slow the process down. First step is, as always, when you start to feel the emotions, that's your first indication that something's wrong. Our body has an amazing way of telling us and guiding us. The only thing is, it's not for us to react on the emotion, which is what, the majority of people do. It's to just listen to what is coming up, to pause, to ask ourselves some questions, to reflect a little bit. Why is this coming up for me? Why am I thinking like this? Why am I behaving like this? Find the root of it. And then, once you've done that and you're learning how to self-coach, then the next step is, asking yourself, are you willing to accept the situation and to move forward? Or is there a solution that has to be made? And so, regardless, for you to just stay in that zone is literally to just choose to be, caged up in prison. And you've got your whole life ahead of you. It's not torturing the other person. It's not torturing the team. You're the one who's living in darkness. You're the one who is not feeling good. So you're the one who has to make the change. You're the one who has to make that choice. No one's going to make that choice for you. And the longer that you wait, the more it just layers on top of each other. And before you know it, what you started off with, which probably was much smaller, is now this really big weight of emotion. And you stay in that for too long. You chip away. You start to change. You're not the person that you once were. You're not as happy as you were before. Maybe a little bit more toxic, maybe a little bit more, bitter. So think hard about how long you stay in situations. And the other part too is really finding, that space and that gratitude. It's about having a positive mindset. No, not because we all just love being happy, cheerful, crazy, annoying people out there, but because that's how you protect your happiness and your sanity. Because life is messy. I talk about it all the time. It never just is just smooth all the time, right? And nor would we really want it to be, But it's just knowing that, right? It's knowing that and just having that understanding that, I have to choose how I show up in this. I might not like all the situations that are handed towards me, but that's how it is. It is what it is. There's no kicking and crying and screaming that's going to change what goes on sometimes. But it's how you move through it. It's how you choose through it. That's what's important. If your body's guiding you a certain way, you've got to listen to your body. Something is not right. And so with the positivity and the gratitude, just having that deeper connection with yourself, to positioning yourself, whether it be in the mornings in terms of morning routine or in the evenings in terms of evening routine, really being mindful of the great things that have happened. How you start your day is how you end your day. How you end your day really paves you for how you start your day. So it matters what you're thinking. It matters what you're thinking all the time. You have a negative emotion, negative thought. How do you think that you're seeing the rest of your day? People who are showing up. If you're already angry at somebody or angry at a situation at work or you didn't get that promotion, do you think that all of a sudden you're looking at the good things that are coming up? Or do you think that your brain is now connecting to every other fact, situation, thing that will validate the fact that you somehow got victimized? That somehow something, was done against you. Your brain is not looking for the good at that point. You have to position it that way. And, in those situations, asking yourself clearly, okay, what do I need to do here? I have these feelings. People are not mind readers. How do I need to move forward? Do I need to go have a clear conversation, put myself out there vulnerably? Sure, it might not end the way that you want it to, but at the end of the day, you're the one stuck with those feelings. So something has to happen. And if you don't handle that, then it's just going to keep following you. So there is no avoiding. And avoiding, God, I can't even like express this enough, is just the root of so much evil, because the more you avoid, you are telling your body you're not worth it. Your body knows exactly what you're doing to it. Rather than like understanding yourself, feeling what you have to feel, making decisions that are good for yourself, being in alignment with your true, authentic being. You're basically saying like, I don't want to take care of that. I don't want those feelings. Maybe I feel guilt. Maybe I feel shame. Maybe I feel extreme sadness, whatever that may be. I don't want to deal with it. You're basically telling yourself, I don't want to deal with you. And your body knows that. It will carry the stress and the weight of all the intentions that you have. It's time to give yourself a shake. Be like, enough is enough. Self-care first. Positioning our mindset, strengthening it, being more mindful and positive. It's important for our health, let alone the relationships that we have around us, which again then affects our health. And so, I want you to just think and reflect. What situations right now do you have that are lingering inside of you, where you just maybe feel a little bit more sad or disappointed, or you have some regret, that there's weight inside of you. Maybe when you're distracted and you're busy, you don't think about it, but when you go to bed at night or when you have times where you're just quiet, it creeps up because it's there. What are you going to do about that? Right? So take some time to think and reflect. Give yourself some time. Your body will recognize that. It will honor that. It wants to know that you are doing good for it. Not just masking it with Band-Aid solutions and false promises and, whatever it might be that it's a good feel in the moment, but in the long term, it's not. It is doing damage to you. And again, are you willing to continue to gamble on your health, your mind, your body, your spirit, because you don't want to deal or because you want to stay stuck in those bad emotions? And that can be just as addictive as anything else. There's something that people get from just being able to complain without a solution, just being able to just vent. It's you get to just like take all that energy that's bustling up inside of you that you don't really know what to do with and just spread it. I was saying on a live video the other day, like, if we were to see people throw garbage onto the ground, right? I'm sure we'd say something. We'd acknowledge that in some which way, like, hey, dude, stop throwing garbage on the ground. But are we calling people out for complaining and, and that just like talking about people and the gossiping and all of that? But that's okay because we don't see it physically fall on the ground, or we don't see it, that energy all around us in the air. That's okay because it's doing the same thing. Energy is so powerful. The words that we have, the intention that we have, the communication, how we speak is incredibly powerful. So now flip that around. That dialogue that you have in your brain, in your mind, in your body, think of how powerful that is. So it matters. It matters greatly. The situations that you allow to stay within you. That, you got to make a choice in there somewhere. It's about most people are working towards some kind of a freedom. Peace, calm, time freedom, location freedom, purpose freedom. Freedom and calmness and peace. So if that's what you're working towards and that's what you want in your life, every single decision that you make every single day needs to line you up with that result. Otherwise, you will miss the mark every single time. And you're going to wonder why you still live in chaos and why these situations just happen to follow you around. It's you. You are the common denominator. It's not the situations, it's you. And we don't have to allow, learnings like that to make us feel bad. It's like, okay, now I know. And now I can be accountable. I'm accountable for the words I say inside my brain. I'm accountable for the words that I say outside my mouth. I'm accountable to clean up messes. I'm accountable to say when something is hurting me. You are accountable for what is going on in your life. There's so much power there. We like to think that stuff like that makes us feel bad, and it doesn't. Makes us feel overwhelmed? Well, it doesn't. You let go of that resistance, what you have there is power. You have personal power. You are in choice all the time. You're in the driver's seat. Problem is, did you let go of being in the driver's seat a long time ago, just hoping and wishing that life's just going to hand you the results that you're not even maybe quite certain that you're working towards? So that's what I want you guys to dig into for this week. And it's important. I can't stress enough to journal and to have some time every single day in your morning routine and your evening routine to think about the things that are coming up for you. If you're going to bed at night and you have a lot of that dialogue and situations and that heaviness inside of you, write it down. Just write it down so that you get it out of your head and onto a piece of paper. That will also help you go to bed, better. So it's a process, right? It's not perfect, but you know when something's not right. You know when you're playing small. You know when you're allowing certain things that aren't right for you, your mind, your soul. And so at what point in time do you say, you know what? No more. I'm worth more than that. But you have to believe that. So what you allow is what will continue, and what you resist is what will persist. Always keep that in mind. So I'm wishing you guys an amazing journey. As always, you can connect with me on my Facebook page, Charlotte Farreau Change by Choice. I've also got my website, charlottefarreau.com. You've got me here on my podcast, so you can always listen to past podcast episodes that I've done. And feel free, you can always message me through Facebook, right? So if you have ideas, suggestions, throw a message out there. I'd love to connect and really keep this community nice and strong. And at the end of the day, it really comes down to the choices that we make will line us up with the changes that we want in life. Cool? All right. I hope you guys have an amazing day. Take care.